my loves, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Katie, and I'm sure that you saw the title of today's video. I feel like I'm coming across really cheery for a Marilyn Manson and a R-word or an essay video. But it's me, and that's why y'all come to my channel. So, hello, how are you today? And we're going to dive into this topic a little more because I do think it's fascinating. If you thought Amber Heard and Johnny Depp was interesting, buckle up, buttercups. We're about to go through the Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood ride, and it's weird and bumpy and lots of twists and turns, and there's no way to fit it all into one video. So for those of you that don't know, Evan Rachel Wood was with Marilyn Manson for many years, and she has come out and made allegations and even made a two-part documentary on HBO called Phoenix Rising, where she says that she was a victim of SA and A-word behavior. Please infer, did my phone just go off? It did. Please infer when I say A-word behavior. Think A and then a bus and ER. If that makes any sense. So she's come out and she has said, and for a while, there's been a few years where she said that she went through things with people, but then didn't say who they were, and has now come out and said it. As well, there are multiple other women who have come out, and there are multiple lawsuits against him doing these behaviors. However, there is a lot of evidence that suggests it might not be true, and she and the other women might be lying, and this is a Me Too hoax. Now, I want you guys to understand, as you know on my channel, what I do is I do deep dives into the psychology and how people operate, and I also am a survivor. I'm a survivor of this. I hate saying that. I feel like there might be some like an ego to that, but as well as many other women. In fact, the majority of us, if you've ever been in the dating scene, we've been through something, right? Which is awful. That's like we've all been through something to an extent. Unless you're with your very sweet high school sweetheart, right? Who never did any of that, which more power to you if that's you. Wasn't me and most women, right? But good on you both. So when it comes to this situation, there's a lot of things that don't add up to the point where it has a lot of people questioning, me included. Now, as I was saying, the deep dive. I want to give you perspectives of somebody who's been through it, and I also want to give you and what I've been through, and I want to give you some. But I'm a Gemini. I was going to say I'm an air sign Gemini, but it came out Gemini. I'm an air sign, which means I'm constantly devil's advocate and weighing information in my head, like master chess games. Well, I say master, not that I'm a master of anything. My mind's a little bit smart. I feel like I'm a bit of a dummy a lot of times, but. No, I can't say those statements. I used to always call myself dumb. I'm pretty smart. I'm smart at things I'm good at. Things I'm not good at, I'm really bad. There's no in between with me. So anyway, I want to dive into this. I want to dive in and see what exactly is going on here and what can we extrapolate, because I think this is going to get very, very interesting. I think we're going to see a cultural backlash from Me Too. And there's a reason for that. We're going to go into all of that. But before we do, if you're new here, hi, how are you? I'm Katie. Would love to have you on this channel. We giggle about all the stupid stuff in the news, and I like to cover topics like this and give you some in-depth analysis. I like to go in-depth in both sides and see exactly what's going on, and we can extrapolate as much information as we can and become our best and highest selves and heal and get to making the planet even better and having better experiences, because let's all have some fun. So if you want to have fun with us and you want to be on that journey, make sure and subscribe and hit that notification bell. How is this so upbeat for such a dark topic? What is wrong with me, or what is right with me? I like saying that when somebody does something good. I'm like, what is right with you? Because it's good. So please subscribe, make sure that notification bell. Also give away $100 gift card. Like the video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content. You're entered, and I'll announce the winner August 1st. So I have some notes. I will try to add in some different things, some pictures and stuff to this so you guys can kind of see what's going on, but let's dive in. So let's start at the beginning. So, and let me pull up my notes because y'all know your girl gets a little bit lost with her chronic health stuff. So we have accusers, several women have come forward and accused Manson of physically, intimately not being nice on certain levels. Please infer, it's YouTube. I hate having to speak in code, but it is what it is. There are multiple lawsuits on this. Now, one of these lawsuits has since been dismissed, so that's already been thrown out. But the person in question that's leading this charge is Evan Rachel Wood. She is an actress in Hollywood. I believe she's an Oscar winner, and she was a very established actress. Now, she met Manson at the Chateau Marmont when she was 18, and Manson was in his 30s, and I believe this was 2006. This was the mid-2000s. Met when they were 18, started dating when she was 19. Now, I will tell you right now, that right there screams red flag because of the power imbalance. Like, what on earth is he going to be attracted to and have in common with a young person? Typically, I'm not saying every time, but typically when you have a situation like that, The person in power, which is typically a man, sometimes it is a woman, but that person, what are they actually drawn to in that person? It's a power dynamic. It's a control dynamic. I'm not saying that's the case, and please understand I'm not taking a side. I'm just giving you guys information and showing you what I see. They were together from 2006, 2010, on and off for 4.5 years, and they got engaged. Didn't get married, but they did get engaged, and it was very serious. Now, here's where a lot of stuff, I'm going to start from the beginning, where a lot of this stuff gets interesting. She has done nothing but praise Marilyn Manson in videos. She has praised and praised and praised this man and said how wonderful he was and loving and that their relationship was very normal. And that started to change. Over the last few years in interviews, she started to talk about SA and that people have done this to her. And then she finally came out and said Marilyn Manson is the person that did this to her. Marilyn Manson's label, his management, everybody ghosted. And he has been left in a really bad place since she came out with these allegations. But there are several things about this that people are looking at and seeing and realizing just don't add up. So let's go ahead and talk about the first one, and that is the music video. There was a music video that she did with Marilyn Manson where they had a simulated intimate scene. Now, she now says, first in interviews before, she has said on repeat that it was a great experience, she enjoyed it, it was fun, it wasn't real. Now she says it was, and that he R-worded her in front of everyone. She says she was intoxicated. She says she didn't know what was happening. Here's the problem with that. The problem is we have eyewitness accounts from people who say that that's not what happened. There's a YouTuber named Colonel Kurtz. Please go check this person out. They have so much good in-depth information on this stuff. Not that they need a shout out from me necessarily. They don't need any help, but this has wonderful information that I'll be going over some of this. They actually interviewed somebody named Vanessa, who is a friend of both Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson, who said not only was she on the set, she was there when the scene was filmed, she watched the whole thing, and there was no, that didn't happen from her point of view as to what she saw. She also said during that time they were having fun, they were giggling, that she and Manson were talking about what they wanted to do next with it, and that she was fine and cheerful the whole time, and says that she is lying. So now, we need to get more eyewitness accounts on what happened, in my opinion, but let's talk about this. I think this is important to talk about. So first of all, the fact that she was that young, does that create a power dynamic? Yes. Is that unhealthy in that situation? Abso-freaking-lutely. And that is a huge red flag, period, and point blank. You have to remember, people do not develop until they're 25. Their brains, the decision-making of the consequences and actions, that doesn't come into play until you are in your mid, sometimes even late 20s. So you're not really a fully formed human being. However, it doesn't make the relationship illegal. Now, I don't like that. I think that we should probably make the laws stricter when it comes to this type of thing because of that and because of what me and other women have gone through, and even men go through it too, right? But nothing illegal just because of the age, right? But let's talk about the interviews. People say that she praised him and now she's turned on him. She must be lying. Again, I'm not going to take a side, but let's look at this. Many times when you have people who are doing things that aren't nice in your life, they condition you to protect them. It happened to me. So, for instance, how do I talk? I don't want to. I'm trying to figure out what all to talk about with my personal past history with stuff. I had a therapy session. I'll put it lightly. There was a therapy session once with someone, and they diagnosed me with PTSD. And this is when I was with probably the worst A-word person I had been with. And they noticed, they made a very smart observation. They would ask me about the person I was with, and I would do nothing but praise that person. But in the notes that I got later, they said every time she talks about her ex, she begins shaking and she looks down. There is no happy, her body language is not signifying what she is saying. It's weird because on the one hand, I knew I was lying about my ex when I would do that. But on the other hand, I was conditioned to believe that he was almost a Christ-like figure that could do no wrong and that I was the awful person. And so they must be wonderful. So I believed it and I didn't believe it. Does that make sense? It was two dichotomies in myself because the self that was trying to hang on to the sanity and not let this person gaslight me was screaming at me what the truth was, but I was so brainwashed and conditioned. I grew up in A-word stuff, and in A-word stuff, the name of the game was you protect the A-word person at all costs. Not just them doing that, because with those people, like sociopaths, narcissists, their image is everything about how they present to other people. But the people close to them get this horrible, awful version of them. My point in all of that is to say, just because she has praised him and said good things doesn't mean it was true. Now we could argue, okay, well, she was lying there. Wasn't she just lying right now about Manson? Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, though, that's the problem. When you're living in gaslighting, you're living in a lie. You're living in somebody else's reality they've created for you. I'm not saying she's lying. I'm not saying she isn't lying. I'm just trying to give a perspective into why victims can be contradictory. Why one day that person's an A-word, the next day they're great. Now, are there some people that will just say those things because they're trying to get their way and they're trying to manipulate an A-word situation themselves and they're trying to hurt that person's reputation to get something? Absolutely, it happens. Of course it happens. But I also just want to point out the dynamic and the reality of the other side. And the other side is when you're in that much trauma and that much gaslighting. And you have to remember, when you're as young as she was, when you are absolutely as young as she was, she's not going to know the difference. She's not going to know. You're just too young to have the experience. You don't have the experience yet for that, right? So that's the first thing as to why there could be contradictory statements, right? Well, some people have said, okay, but later she came out, even when she started talking about her experiences with SA, right? Later she comes out and she says, even in talking about the articles where it's like, oh, I've been physically, intimately not well by somebody, she'll then go on to praise Manson. Guys, that can be part of the healing journey. The ex that did the worst to me was decades ago. And I'm 38. I'm still uncovering trauma from myself. I'm still uncovering suppressed things that come up, stuff I completely forgot about. I defended that person to a hilt. And even now, I don't want to say that person's name. Part of it is, I don't want negativity for anybody, including the people who've hurt me. Maybe that's me trying to protect people still, but I want healing and growth for everybody. I'm not looking to make myself a martyr and, I want good things for everyone, period. Even if you were in my life and you did harm. Because if you become better, if the person who harmed me becomes better, it's less people harmed and more good. That's all that I want, right? But I'm pointing these out because I've heard people talk about, well, she's lying because of this, this, and this. It doesn't mean she's lying, but there's way more to this story. It doesn't mean she's not lying, and that's the problem. Because here's the problem that I see when it comes to this stuff. We take very relevant topics like injustices with minorities, SA, A-word behavior, and the media spins it so that we're all fighting each other instead of healing. And that's the thing on my channel and everything I want to avoid. We need to come together and make positive change. And how do we do that? My opinion is we do it through healing and forgiveness of ourselves and of other people. And that's what I like to promote. That I feel like almost nobody else talks about when it comes to these topics fully, unless you're like a therapist, one of those YouTube therapists, which there's a lot of, and I like a lot of them. Let's get into one more thing, because I'm going to do deep dives into this, right? I don't want this to be too long, but I want to get into one more thing and one more allegation that's very damaging. This one I don't have a lot to say on. We're going to talk about it, though. Apparently, they did a music video together. In the music video, there was simulated intimacy. She now says that she was R-worded. Now, we have an eyewitness account that says that this person was both friends with Marilyn Manson and with this girl, and that she saw what happened and that it didn't happen, and that she was cheerful and bright and they were talkative and everything was fine. Now, hear me out, because I'm just giving both sides. There were times where the person who A-worded me, first of all, they also R'd me. And there were times where right after they would R me, we would go out in public and look like picture perfection. In fact, I remember one time I was really upset about being R'd, and we went out and my mood was visibly bad. And we'd went out with a group of people that were kind of new to us. Those people pulled him aside and said that they were worried for him because my attitude was so bad I was the problem. They had no idea what had happened to me an hour before. And I was trying to keep it together. There were many times my person was A-wording me in front of people, and I had to act more cheerful. I had to act even better to give the facade that what was happening was not happening. So just because Evan Rachel Wood might have said certain things or acted a certain way, even in the middle of it happening, does not mean it didn't happen. This can also be a coping mechanism. With that being said, I find it highly suspicious. I want to word this carefully. that we have a witness that says, I was there, I saw it, she wasn't R-worded. I don't know how much you can fake that. That's the thing, though. I can kind of argue both ways, because if it's Hollywood and it's simulated, you're wanting it to look real, right? But they have things in place for that. So I think we need to know the details of exactly what happened with that music video, what that looked like, and we need to see more eyewitness accounts. But the fact is, somebody says, I was there, I saw it. That didn't happen. Stuff like this is where I look back and I start to get highly suspicious. One other point that I want to go over when it comes to this case. Apparently, with Evan Rachel Wood and a former girlfriend that was in physics writing that really took this on and ran with it, they were trying to recruit people to come out against Manson. They were trying to give talking points about this. I can go both ways. I can go both ways on that, because there are people, there's one instance I'll talk about. This is kind of funny. There's a guy who is a serial A-worder from Kansas City, in kind of Kansas City entertainment, and there were a group of us, many of us, that got together who'd been kind of victims of this person and raise awareness about what they've done, right? In that, but we weren't like giving talking points and recruiting people. We were just a group of people who had that experience, and we also weren't trying to we weren't necessarily intending to take action on the person, right? Even though this person should. Oh, it's bad. This one individual. It is funny, though. It's also funny because this person's like, so you know how some people, when they like do stupid things or they're criminals, they're like the Home Alone criminals, the bumbling idiots. That's kind of what this person is. But yeah, so the fact that they were recruiting people could be looked at as two different ways. It could be, we want to give a platform and a voice for women to speak up, and we're letting women know that they have the opportunity to do that. Or it could be nefarious. The fact that the mainstream media has taken this on and sided with her, I hate to say this, but I'm going to be honest, this is one of the other things that makes me question, because we know the mainstream media lies to us all the time. The mainstream media doesn't want us to be in peace. The mainstream media doesn't want us to heal and be better people. So why are they so quick to jump on believing her? Stuff like this. For instance, why is the media still painting Amber Heard as the ultimate victim here? When I see that, that's when I start to discount. So they're sending out talking points and contracts to these women. We have other eyewitness accounts that say this didn't happen. And I find it, again, highly suspicious. Because what is the angle? What is happening? At the end of the day, what is the angle for us? Is the angle, again, like I said, in my opinion, to get us to all fight each other. What does that do for any of us? Nothing. So this is what I do want to say as well. If you've been through this, I want to encourage you, as unfair as it was that you had this done to you and now you have all this damage, do the work on yourself. Keep working. Keep undoing that trauma. Keep seeing where we can be better and stronger. And it's not to not say that they haven't done anything wrong. The responsibility lies on what that person did, 100%. But we have to make ourselves stronger in the process. You deserve that, and you're worth it. And that starts, in my opinion, with forgiveness. Forgive yourself, forgive that person, but that also is a process in your own timing, but work towards that. That's where the healing and growth comes in, and that's where you get to take your power back and you get to be your best self, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. And then you go out in the world and you make it better. Okay, guys, let me know what you think of this video. I'd like to cover this topic more, because this is a rabbit hole. So let me know. I'm really curious. So, okay, I think I'm going to end this one here now. It's way too long. I just wanted to give a quick overview of some of the stuff that people are saying, my perspective, and we're going to do a bigger deep dive next time. So, all right, guys, take care. Lots of love, lots of blessings. Until the next video. Oh, first subscribe and hit notifications if you want. And here's my sign off. I'm giving y'all hugs. Mwah, kisses. I love you guys. Stay safe. Your girl will see you soon. Bye, guys.